Welcome back to the show, everybody. The World Economic Forum meets tomorrow. The Great Reset continues, and digital currencies are at the top of that list. And we also have a review from a lawyer from Legal Briefs who has an incredible insights and perspectives on what may or may not come out. We're going to talk about that and the potential of a currency designation for XRP and what it might mean for the escrow. Let's roll that beautiful intro.
This is Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Subscribe for new content notifications. Now, here's Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow me on Twitter at @BackupBradleyAbove at the top of the screen, and everything that we're talking about here. Looking at the market currently right now, let me refresh the page here. Yeah, okay, so we're still under $1 trillion for the current market cap of cryptocurrency collectively, 32,000 plus for Bitcoin, and at the 5 spot right now, courtesy of the SEC lawsuit, we are looking at 27 cents for XRP. Let's go ahead and get right into this because we have a few things we need to break down today. One, a reminder that I told everybody in this morning's video that the World Economic Forum, starts tomorrow. That is exciting to me because we gleaned a lot of things that we've gone over here about what we learned from last year's World Economic Forum at Davos. And we know that this year, Susan Friedman from Ripple will be a speaker and a part of that. And she's been put on a digital currency governance consortium. Now, how about that for an alleged unregistered security? That's right. Susan Friedman, U.S. Treasury employee before going to Ripple, is now going to be a part of that consortium at the World Economic Forum. That, to me, is very exciting. Who's at the World Economic Forum? Just to show you very quickly here, almost everyone of note, right? I mean, this is just a list of world leaders and important leaders, thought leaders around the world that are going to be attending the World Economic Forum. This does not happen to list the corporations. This is focused more on the political leaders in this particular list than anything else, and obviously central bank leaders and things of that nature. But obviously Ripple will be there, so Brad Garlinghouse will be there, I'm sure, as well as Susan Friedman. So it'll be exciting to see what we get out of that. Remember, the Great Reset, that is the mantra for the World Economic Forum in the middle of a pandemic when the entire world has been shut down. Digital currencies have been made a top priority of this year's conference. We're going to watch it very closely. Now, this is a video from Legal Briefs. This guy, Jeremy, does a great job. Shout out to him. I really am grateful that somebody who is a lawyer, even though they don't know how it's going to turn out, right, is willing to come out and just share their perspective, even though it's their opinion, right? It doesn't change the case. But I'm very grateful for somebody like Jeremy to come out here and do this. And just like John Deaton, I got to give a shout out to John Deaton, who's actually heading up the class action against the SEC. So I'm very grateful for both of those. But right now we're going to listen to some important comments that I feel are really of note about the lawsuit and from his perspective that we all should really take in mind here. Now, we have drilled down on the idea of XRP being a currency like I think it is. Or we've drilled down on the idea of XRP getting some kind of a security, possible electronic digital bond designation even. And it could work without harming the full-scale intended use of XRP in that form should it get such a designation, which wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. However, let's go ahead and drill down with his perspectives that he shares here on the idea of Ripple being a currency and getting a currency designation out of this settlement. And let's talk about what could happen to the escrow because of it. Let's listen here at 6:12 at what Jeremy says here.
First, I started by reviewing the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit, and I read it twice. Okay? If you remember, there was no request for a declaration from the court that XRP was a quote, security, which the SEC could have requested from the court but didn't. Now, that clued me in to something to the effect that this lawsuit was going to be limited to monetary damages, and the only effect on XRP would be on the XRP and escrow. Now, that was...
Now, Now, excuse me, that is an important point that he made there, because as a lawyer, he knows that they could have requested that in this judgment that XRP be deemed a security. However, he says they didn't put that in there. Now, a lawyer is what picks up on something like that, and that's where I'm really grateful for him sharing some of these perspectives and what he's seeing out of this document. One thing I wanted to say is that if they're not really pushing hard for this to get a security designation, let's now shift and understand that maybe this comes out the way we all want it to, and XRP gets just what we want, a currency designation. How amazing would that be? Oh my gosh, right? However, it brings into question the Ripple escrow. If XRP is to be a currency, and there is 50 some billion in escrow right now, which is on a scheduled cryptographically auto release schedule that no one can alter, and I understand that. But the truth is Ripple is the steward of that release each month. They have been a good steward of that release each month. But if this were to get a currency designation, I think we all have to really start to understand that if we understand where this currency will get its value from, which is from the volume and utility of all the financial institutions of the world, putting their volume of business daily for transactions on the ledger, it is going to make this a very, very high price currency that I believe will move into thousands of dollars per XRP. That's my personal opinion. So in this settlement, they're not asking for a security designation. It's just an alleged accusation that they believe they are operating with an unregistered security, and they're not looking for a security designation per se in the conclusion of the case. Let's now go to 723 here. There we go. And listen here about the conclusion that Ripple will settle possibly out of court. And he mentions again that he sees how the escrow could be the real point of contention here. And look, you have to ask yourself, if this is going to be a bridge currency to the world, do you think they're going to let a private company hold what is on its way to become the most desirable, sought after asset on the planet that's new money? And they're just going to let this company Ripple hold it? I think there's some fallout things here we have to consider, like, will Ripple have to give up the escrow to maybe a governance or federation or the U.S. Treasury because it's so deeply embedded with U.S. Treasury officials at Ripple? And will that from there be the U.S. Treasury disseminating some of this escrow and becoming the steward of the escrow for the world, delivering things to IMF and other institutions around the world? We don't know. We're speculating on that. But let's listen here and see what he says here.
I concluded that this litigation is likely to end in settlement. And then I began looking at the possible settlement scenarios because I wanted to see what the worst case scenarios looked like. I first looked at the Paragon coin settlement, and that was a monetary settlement and a reiteration to cease and desist violations of securities laws. This clued me in that even a bad settlement would only affect the XRP held by Ripple and Escrow, and that was probably the sticky
again with the escrow, and that's probably the sticky point. Keep listening.
Point in settlement negotiations. Next, I looked at the Kick Interactive judgment, which was really a worst case scenario. I mean, this was a case that was litigated to a conclusion with Kick completely losing everything. Now, the judgment against Kick was very interesting because it showed that even in a worst case scenario, there would still be a mechanism possibly for sale of XRP that was held in escrow that might allow Ripple to continue expanding the use of XRP while limiting dumping of XRP by Ripple on the market.
And in turn, there could be a scenario where if that is allowed, that potentially Ripple needs to get a banking charter. Maybe Michael Barr could help out with that once he's at the OCC. And I don't mean anything less than a professional relationship either. I'm not suggesting that he would bend what the OCC does. I literally mean that they may be ushering their way to becoming a central bank. We're talking about not just a banking charter so you can do banking activities. Ripple has their own currency. It's XRP. All right, now let's move to the next spot here that I think is really important. We'll play from here right into up to 8:55. Let's listen.
Now, the Kik case was also instructive because after the case was lost, 100% lost, Kik, the company, was able to continue, and the Kin token was able to continue as well. So at that point, I knew that the likely worst case scenario from a litigation standpoint is that. Now, it's a significant disruption in Ripple's business model, no doubt. The best case scenario is a complete victory, summary judgment in court, and none of the sales are deemed to be sales of securities.
Now that is what I want to hear. Now, wouldn't that be great that we've speculated all these things because they're possibilities, but to ultimately come back to the idea that we just get the designation we actually want? That would be incredible to me. It really would. And I know to all of you too. So let's now move up and jump up here for another spot. It's the last spot we need to hear. It is at 9:12 here. And we're going to listen to him talk about the effect of the lawsuit of the SEC and how it caused the price to drop. And again, he references the potential of the escrow being a real problem in the settlement. And I believe that that is accurate. I believe that what happens to the XRP escrow is going to become crucial and has probably been the largest negotiating point for this entire lawsuit with the SEC, because again, you either believe Ripple is going to have to become a central bank to oversee this money, this new money that's going to be value driven by the volume of all the financial institutions that want to settle north of 6 trillion in cross-border payments of some sort every single day. Now, I don't see a private blockchain infrastructure company just being able to do that willy-nilly without any issues. Something's going to have to change. So let's listen here.
The SEC lawsuit was announced back in December of last year. XRP fell from bouncing around the 50 to 70 cents range to the 20 to 30 cents range. And the only reason for this was the lawsuit, which is the reason also I became interested, because you could say the lawsuit was artificially holding the price down in a sense, and that's something I could bring some special knowledge to analyze. Now, my conclusion was that the most likely outcome of the SEC lawsuit would be a settlement involving possibly a large fine or penalty for sales from 2013, 14, maybe 2015, and some sort of control or limitation on the sale of the escrowed XRP. And that
there again, with some sort of sale or control on the XRP. Let's let him finish here.
That's a conservative conclusion on my part. Now, that conclusion would hurt Ripple, no doubt, but would by no means be a death blow.
And there you have it. No means would it be a death blow. And I don't see it any differently if they get a currency designation, which would be amazing and highly preferred. But then at the same time, the question really comes back to how does it happen with the escrow should they get a currency designation where they say, listen, hey, your money, XRP is money, but you can't hold or control as much of it as you do, because this isn't the way the world works. The governments and the central banks of the world are not just going to sit back and watch a private company out of San Francisco become one of the most wealthiest entities on the planet, by the way, from them and by them, because the value for XRP will truly come, as Dilip Rao says, when they pivot towards institutions. That's what they're doing now, and there is no mistake about that. What's left to understand now is what's the designation of XRP? How does it affect the escrow? Will Ripple remain the steward of the escrow? And will Ripple become a full-fledged central bank to satisfy being able to continue to be the steward of the escrow? All of these, I think, are relative questions that are very, very important for us to get the answers to. And I don't know how long this takes. He did go on further in this to say that it could be 3 months, 6 months, or inside of a year before we get the decision. And I certainly hope we get one as quickly as possible. But the reality is, when it comes to the escrow, I do believe that this is a huge sticky point, no matter what the designation is, whether it be a bond or a security or a currency. That's going to do it for me. Hit the like and subscribe. Leave a comment below. Make sure you share with somebody you know and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Check out all the links in the description box and the comment section. Ladies and gentlemen, I Trust Capital is the best crypto IRAs on the planet, and I've got a link in the description for them, and they do offer gold and silver as well. Make sure you check them out and tell them I sent you. I'll catch all of you on the next one.